Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back. Thank you for coming back. If you are new here, what up? Okay, today we are going to be talking about Zelnoth, the legendary Dark Hunter. This is my review of him, my pros, my cons. Do I like him? Do I hate him? All of that good stuff. First, we're going to go over the spell kit really quickly. Zelnoth has Void Touch, which is a passive spell. It debuffs the towers from the breath attack. Star Eater is a passive spell. When you destroy a tower, you gain access to a cloak called the Void. The Void is a 1 rage cloak. It's white. You cloak for 2.5 seconds. You slow down. On uncloaking, you damage the towers for 16% of the HP that the dragon has, and you can use ammo, spells, consumables, all that good stuff inside the cloak. We also have Siphon Strike, which is a 2 rage Death Gaze kind of spell that heals you. A lot of dragons have Siphon Strike. Not a lot, but a good few. Enough that you should be familiar with the spell. And then it has Slayer's Mark, which is basically Hunter's Mark. It's a free mark spell. It gives you 1 rage, and it heals you a little bit. Personally, I don't really like mark spells, but that's just me. Let's go into the pros before we get to the cons. First things first, this dragon flies kind of similar to Rashka. If you have Rashka, you know it has kind of the same play pattern where you can shoot your spells in the cloak, and it also has that Death Gaze type spell. A little bit different though. Zelnoth can actually shoot his ammo in the cloak too, so you have 2 ways to deal damage while you're in the cloak. Pros, it's pretty easy to fly for the most part. It's a straightforward dragon. You're going to use the Siphon Strike to kill towers. You know, you kill the towers, you gain the cloak. In the cloak, you can shoot the ammo. It debuffs the towers, and you can also use the mark to gain rage. You can use consumables if you add on shields, heals, anything like that, death gazes. And then you can also use the Siphon Strike while you're inside of the cloak. Siphon Strike heals you for a good bit, and it does a lot of damage. Again, you can do everything from the cloak, and your breath attack debuffs the towers, making them a little bit easier to take down. You have a rage mark that gives you health, so you have a few different ways to gain health. The uncloaked damage has a large area of effect. You can hit like a decent amount of towers, and it does a decent amount of damage, I found too. You can kind of get towers low on health and use that uncloaking blast to get the Star Eater to get your cloak back as well, if you time it correctly. So timing this guy perfectly, you can really avoid a lot of damage and deal a lot of damage. He's not really a hunter that you're going to be able to massively hit up with, I don't feel like. And the main part of that is because you have to destroy a tower to gain access to the cloak, and there is a slight delay between damaging or killing that tower and getting that cloak. Also, the cloak costs you 1 rage, so if you're out of rage, even if you get the cloak, you can't use it. So in my personal opinion, and this is just me speaking freely, I think it should have been one or the other. Either a passive with a free cloak or a 1 rage cloak. I'm sure that the GPF tested it millions of ways, but to me, I don't like the idea that I have to do X to get Y and then also use Z to use that spell, if that makes any sense. So I not only have to kill a tower to gain access to the cloak, but I also have to use 1 rage to use the cloak, if that makes any sense. So, and then the delay between getting access to the cloak sometimes can mean living or dying, especially if you're hitting up. Like I said, I don't think this guy is going to hit 4 tiers up. I don't think he's going to hit 2 tiers up, unless you have him absolutely max gear, max rider, max runes, like perfectly set up. And that's just the biggest flaw to me that I found. Also, another thing is he tends to run out of ammo quickly, and he doesn't have the ability to regain ammo. So the cloak doesn't like regen your ammo or something like a lot of dragons do. So you really only have 1 burst of ammo to take down a tower, and then you have to rely on Siphon Strike being available to kind of mow down some more, because again, the cloak doesn't last that long. It's only a 2.5 second cloak. I found that he's very rage heavy, even with constantly using the mark. You can use the mark while you're in the cloak, so you can mark a tower and kill it, but that also is taking away from your 2.5 seconds of dealing damage. Siphon Strike is a 2 rage spell, and the cloak is 1 rage, so really you get 1 rage in the cloak, and then you have 2 Siphon Strikes, and then your breath damage to deal damage. And if you are hitting max bases with 8 full islands, I don't think that this guy is going to be able to survive it, unless you are a very, very, very skilled and timed flyer. He will probably do really well on short bases. He will do pretty good on just 10 tower islands, because you can double hit and triple hit a lot of spaces with Siphon Strike that way. And again, this is just my personal opinions, and this is just what I have found with flying him. So do I recommend him? Yes, I think he's a pretty good dragon, a pretty fun dragon if you don't have a Dark Hunter in your roster and you want something fun to play with. It's not going to be the end-all be-all. It's not going to completely demolish bases. If you're a lower to mid-level player, this guy is going to be fantastic for you. He's going to do really great for you, honestly. But that's with a lot of dragons. Even dragons that suck at N tier are pretty good for mid to lower level players. But N tier, you know, when you start getting into Eldritch and Verdant, sorry, I'm losing focus on the names of the tiers. When you start getting into the higher tiers and you're hitting these higher bases, especially if you're a player that is on a high league team where you have to hit max bases but you're not N tier yet, I wouldn't use this guy. I don't think he's going to be reliable for you to be hitting that far up. I think he struggles like triple defended on tier sometimes. So hitting up a tier plus being defended, it's really not going to go well for you. I've defended against this guy a few times. I've flown this guy for a little while, and while he is fun to fly, I just don't see him being amazing, I guess. So out of 10, I would probably give him like a 6, 7 on a good day if I'm flying well. He's a pretty decent dragon. He is an emo Garchomp. I do like the look of him, and if you didn't get Calivore last season, he's a good dragon to pick up. He is full price though, so if you are going for a mythic, I probably would skip the line. I think there's other better things that you can spend your sigils on, especially if you're able to get a discounted line. I always recommend the base boost, and I would recommend the discount dragon if that is what you're doing. If you're not going for a mythic and you just want a fun hunter to play around with, and you're not looking for him to be the end-all be-all, demolish every base, he's a good dragon. He's fun to fly, and that is my thoughts. If you have any other questions, comments, suggestions, put them in the comments below and I will take a look. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me ramble, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!